Okay. Hello. Am I audible? Okay. Good afternoon. So we gonna see React today. Before we started, how many of you are familiar with React? You can just, show reaction if you already know how to use React. So that means you don't. Everyone is new for React here. Okay. So hopefully you can see the screen, right? Can you? Okay. Give me 1 second. So while I try to fix this, React is a JavaScript framework for building front-end applications. It is one of the most famous frameworks out there that is used for building applications. Just because I might what I need to fix this. Sorry. So, like I said, it's a JavaScript library, which is its background is built through JavaScript. It's a dynamic, interactive user interface, a dynamic platform that helps you to build interactive user interfaces. It was created by Facebook. They are the one who created this framework, and Facebook is also built through that framework in React. So like most of the common used front-end building platforms or platforms that are used for building front-end UI applications, it's a single page application. This is not unique for React. Most front-end application builders like React, Vue, Angular, or I don't know, there are a lot of them, but these three are the most common ones. They all use this same infrastructure behind them, which is a single page application, which is when you run React application, you can see a lot of files that you created for building different UIs for different features. But technically, when you run your React application, you are running one single file. All those components files that is found in your file are all connected to that one single file, and that single file is the one that's running. So they all form this UI application platforms. They all use this infrastructure that is running a single application and getting, a bunch of branched out files within it. This makes them more modern in getting a more fast running application. This is one of the findings or modern invention that is in come to web development, that is running a single amount of features within that application. So every of those branch files are connected to that one single file, but that single file is the only one running on your machine or wherever you're working from. So dashboard React components based architecture. So like you are building a dashboard on Streamlit or Dash or other framework that you have been using so far. You can do the same with React as well. It's just a new framework that you need to understand, a new language that you need to discover. But other than that, they have, especially React, has a lot of libraries. It's very library rich, like Python is having a lot of libraries that React has a lot of built-in, not built-in, but external libraries you can install, and it's compatible with React that you can use for different purposes. And one of those libraries that you can use in this sense is there's a lot of libraries for building charts within the React framework. So they have documentation and everything. You can just install their package and start using it to build dashboards. Mobile application with React has their side framework, which is React Native. It's React based, but it's specifically designed for building mobile application, like Kotlin is on Flutter for other. There are other frameworks for building mobile apps, and React has their own version for building mobile application, which is called React Native. So if you are interested in building React-based mobile app, the framework that you need to use is with the name React Native. Core components of React, JS6 or JavaScript XML. This is a syntax extension that allows writing HTML-like code within the JavaScript. So usually when you create your React application, or your files will have, if you use the JavaScript version of React, you have two versions, two types. When you install it, it will ask you which language you should use within the React. You either can use TypeScript or JavaScript. So if you use TypeScript, you will use, when you create any file, for example, if it's a homepage, home dot, if it is JavaScript React installation, you will use home.js6. That is the file extension name. That is the one that helps us to run on the browser, and it gives you the HTML-like code writing. So it will give you the format that will make it be able to run on browsers. And if it's TypeScript, the J will be T and it will be T6. So this is just their infrastructure. The other is state and props, which React does use a lot, and you will use it as well. The state is managed data that changes over time within a component. So every component have a state where you can store temporary data. So as long as that component is running, that state can be used as a temporary storage for your data. And props is also another form of state where you can transfer data from one component to another. So if you have a parent component, which for example, it could be a home page, and you want to create other branches for that component. It may be the home page as a sections design, which is the first section shows about introduction about a company. The second section can show partners of that company. So if you decided not to put all those sections in one homepage, but if you want to, divide the work with other components, you can decide to put the the partner section to partner.tsx file, and the introduction part of the home to introduction.tsx or j6 file, React component file. So which means your home component and those two files will be connected, and some kind of data transfer might be needed from the home page to those children's. So in this case, the two files that you created to be connected with the home component will be considered as a children components, and the home page will be the parent component. So there is some way a data transfer should happen between the home component and the child component. You can use the concept of props that React offers to transfer data. So if I want to pass, for example, the title home to both of the children's home, I can of course write it on their file, the title home, but to be efficient and more of a best practice, you would use props within the props of the those component names within the parent component, you can just write props is equals to braces and put title is equals to home. It's just as simple as this. Then they will understand that part and they can display it on their UI. It's just this is just our ways that you can transfer both state and props, are ways that you can store and transfer data between component and within component. So life cycle meters that allow developers to go to different stage of a component, such as mounting, updating, unmounting. These are the life cycles like React uses. I mean, it has a lot of life cycle meter. You can just search it. What are the life cycles React? They are use effect, use state, use memo. That's not a life cycle, but use mount. There are different life cycles React offers, which each life cycle methods have different purpose. So for example, if you use effect, every time you run that component, whatever you put within that effect function will run automatically. So it has this kind of features. This life cycle method exists in most of the common frameworks that are used for building front-end application. Vue also contain these lifecycle methods. So these just are methods that can make your life easier or your application life easier. So if you want every time a component is run on the browser, if you want to invoke some function automatically because of refresh happen, you can easily call the use effect function of React and part the functions in. So every time someone refreshes that page or someone goes to that page, in the background, a function will be invoked to do something. So they have different methods that do a lot of functionality for different purposes. So that's what it talks about here. There are actually methods that do something. So why should you use React? So far you have been using different frameworks. Why React? Why not Vue, or why not Swinglet? Why not Dash? So the right answer I can give you from my side is it's not about preference, it's just about options. These are options. React is one option that you can build to do UI, like Streamlit is, like Dash is. They use different languages most of the time, and depending on the production or the application complexity, React might be more effective because it does have a lot of features. It's been used in production level applications. It does give you a lot of features to actually control your front-end UI much better because its purpose is built for that purpose. So React might be good. For small applications, you might not see the difference of using as long as you get the same features. But React does offer a lot of chart types, a lot of beautifying techniques. CSS is easy to integrate with React, so Tailwind as well. So it's just about preference, having options to build UI applications. It's not about this has to be it or that has to be it. Just know you have options to explore a lot of UI applications builders, which one of them is React. So as for React uses, one is reusability, which is like on Python, on the one that you guys have been doing, we see modularity, right? The concept of modularity, that is breaking down your functions in different modules and use them in your notebooks or within each other. That modularity concept is for reusability, right? You can use reusable codes by putting them in a file and coding them everywhere. Like that kind of concept, React offers that reusability. So you will have these component files that you can call everywhere within your applications. For example, if you have a form within your website or within your application, you can create a form, a reusable form that you can call anywhere. The only thing that you can adjust is the fields. So you can create one common form creator code on one React application that accepts this parameter fields, but and you can call it everywhere. So if one file, if the homepage has only needs 2 fields for username and email, but where is the contact us need 3 or 4 fields to input user information, you can easily call that form creator component to both of them, but you can give it different parameters. This one only needs user and password, and this one only needs user, password, email, and message about what they want to pass. So it gives you this flexibility to use one code and use it smartly all over your code. So one of the functions React offers is reusability, the other is performance. The virtual DOM ensures efficiency updates and rendering. So the virtual DOM when we say virtual DOM, it's the one that's responsible for deploying the HTML or that single application and represent it on the UI. So it has a better format because it's running one file. It's faster, which is the same for most UI applications like the others that I mentioned. Rich ecosystem, like I said, like Python does have a lot of libraries. Python, it's been they have just a vast amount of libraries that you can find that fit with the React application. So it does offer that part like Python does for Python packages. And community support, React has been with us for a long time. So it does have a large and active community. So every time you have a question or something, you can join those communities and connect with other React developers or even founders. Plus, you can find a lot of issues being actively distributed on React application, on like Stack Overflow, this common website that we go through when some error or something that we don't understand come in. So the point is it does have a community where React is largely discussed all over the internet. So that's one advantage. So one of the pros, just a repetition, it is the process of designing interactive UIs. It really simplifies that process. It is component-based architecture. So like we said, it promotes or highly encourages modularity and maintainability within your code. It has strong community. What are the cons? Steep learning curves. So if you are learning for JavaScript, for state management, anything related to front-end concepts, you might find it hard. I know I would consider Streamlit Dash much easier than React because you guys already have been familiar with Python, so it wouldn't be hard for you to cope or to be compatible with them. But if you guys have no knowledge of JavaScript or the concept of state management that's happening with front-end UIs, it can be a bit confusing, but not impossible. Of course, you can learn. It's not a big deal. So that's not much of a con. It's just giving the dedication to learn those things, and you can easily be one of the, it could be one of the comfortable frameworks that React. So why not use React for it's just more like in what scenarios you should embrace React. So for simple static websites, React can be complex. Not complex in doing it, it's not necessary. With a simple static website, you can use much easier. Even Vue has a more easier load than React. React is a bit, when it comes to loading it and everything, it does take some computation. So if it's a simple static website, you can go to simpler website builders like WordPress or others. There are a lot of them. You can choose that. But if it's a really production level application, which a lot of features happening, a lot of communications needed within the UIs and everything, React would be the best choice. But then again, it's not a rule. You can still use it for simple applications. It's just a suggestion. So to get started with React, of course, I'm sure all of you already has Node.js, that package installed on your machine, since you guys already, I'm sure you have, but if you don't have one, it needs that for the installation to work. So you need to make sure you install this Node.js package on your machine. They have different downloads for different version of our machine, from macOS, Windows, and so on. So choose your own type and make sure to download it on your machine. So assuming you guys have done that, to create React applications, the only command that you need to run is this npx is npx write up. My dashboard could be any name, your application name, and then be in the path and npm start. So we have to, there are a lot of ways you can install React. So if you go to their official documentation of React documentation, if you go to reactive.learn, you can see the same where it's a get started installation part, create React app. So the same, this is for, if there's a next, it will create the next version of React. So you can create next in React has similarity when it comes to structure and familiarity, it's just a bit different. So if you want Next.js to run, you can choose this one. Directly, if you want to install the React application, you can use this one. So you can follow their documentation to install it. But from my preference, there are platforms like Byte. Let's see here. Byte is another platform that lets you install not just React, a lot of UI front-end applications through their package. So I'm gonna install React through this one because it's really fast with Byte. I'm gonna give the exploration to you guys. Make sure to install both with this one and with Byte, and you'll see how fast Byte is to install React. You will find the same framework, but this one is they have compressed most of the loading things on their platform, so it's just easier. Every change that you make, it will load easier, more faster compared to the pure one. So let's just use this one. So they have the option, like I said, the Byte. See, the framework that it supports is not just for React. They support the Vue that I keep mentioning. They have the pre-React, Elite, Solid. They have vanilla JavaScript. This is a pure JavaScript. So they support all of them. One of them is React. So we're gonna, install React through their platform. So let's go to the React installation. Okay, no, this is not necessary. Yeah, this is just copy this one and we can write latest. Okay. Let's delete these parts. So just click enter, then say yes. It asks you here to write your project name. So let's say for this one, I'm gonna name it React Test or React Demo. Maybe that's better. So see, all the options of the one that support are listed here. So they will ask you to pick one of them, the package. So we are focusing on React. Then after you select the React, just click enter. So like I said, you have options with React either to install through TypeScript or JavaScript. So let's just choose JavaScript. That's enough. That's it. You see how fast it is? If you install it with the React installation, it will just take you some time to load this one. It will not end with 1 second. So this is why I like Ride. So after installing it, we already installed our application here. All the packages that we going to need are listed here. So let's see, cd what is the name? React team. Then do npm install to install all the packages within your local folder. React. My internet is struggling a bit. The npm install is over. So if the npm install is successfully done, you will see this new modules folder. Then let's run the application now. Npm run here. All right, then it will give you a port, which you can follow here. This is it. This is the default React application. When you run it, you will see this. So we're going to do some adjustment just to show you how to create components and everything. I just want to show you some CSS with Tailwind, but we can use the default CSS if this internet is having a problem. Let's see. Okay. So I'm not sure if you heard me talk about Tailwind, but I think I mentioned it in some presentation, but it's fine. The purpose of Tailwind is it does the same thing as CSS would do. So if you go to the file that we created, the main course of your React application are going to be located on this src folder. This one, src folder. This is where the source files or the component that you're going to create will exist here. So the one that you see just running is located on the app.js. So this is a single file that every time you run, it will be running. So on this one, you see the white plus React and so on and so on. And let's see, right? So up to CSS, which is normal, it automatically will read it as long as you put those CSS. So you can adjust your CSS design here, and it's up to Texas and whatever CSS you have put on your CSS. As long as you imported it with this, it will understand it and implement it. So how will it implement? So for example, if I want to give a color for this particular link tag, which is indicated by the A tag, to understand how this one, you just need to read on HTML tags. These are all HTML tags. What does button mean, or what does div mean? If you want to really understand that, I would recommend you reading up on what are HTML tags or what does HTML means. Then you'll find some information on that. So let's, for example, let's change the color of white React, or let's just rename it to Kifiya trainees for love. Yeah, trainees, and let's just give it a red color. So if I want to give a color for this H1 tag, for this particular, right now, if you go to the design, it is with white color, right? If you want to make it red with CSS, and you need to know, I mean, the CSS needs to know which component is making red. So it's not going to work just because you write the color right here. So you need to actually find it. So because HTML tags are known within the framework, if we identify, I think it should work. There's no reason it shouldn't work, like this one. By the way, you can see it, right? Some recommendation happening here. So if you install the React application extensions on your VS Code, it will give you this recommendation before you even run anything. So use those extensions. Okay, I have React extensions installed. So just make sure to, at least for React Native, there's also one. Yeah, but I have installed this one, which helps to understand the basic to understand React things. So it just gives it 3 RM. We can just make it bigger than this one. This is a size. Another CSS, syntax that you should know. So to understand this, we're not going to cover it on this one, but some of the names are descriptive enough to understand what you should expect. This is just going to increase the size of the font. But if you want detailed understanding, I would recommend reading on CSS. But our plan is to make the color right. So let's just say font. So because I have the extension, it will give me the possible things I could ever want from this. What I want is color. Probably, yeah, this is a mistake. I was gonna do font color, but there is no font color syntax within the CSS. So the syntax is only color. Because I know it, I can correct myself, but for you guys to correct yourself, you should know. So our plan is to make red color. So you can simply call it the red color, but if you want to be more creative, just hover on the color and it will give you this, hovering that you can just adjust the coloring as you want by different formats, either the RGB or the gradient one, or you can use the hexadecimal. Different options of representing the same color. You can use one of them. So let's just decrease rate and see if the H1 tag has been changed. So this is what CSS does. So if you want to locate at this one, again, you'll use the CSS techniques and so on. That is the whole purpose of CSS. Everything that is going to be beautified, or this animation that you can see here, are done through CSS. So really understanding CSS can be advantage when it comes to front-end application track. This is the ones that you just show here, just to say something. Okay, let's use this one. You see when I hover, there's a purple background, right? Here, purple blur brightness coming in. So like I said, this is is done through the CSS. So if you want to see which code actually does this one. So on the logo, which is the logo is, if you go here, there's a class named logo here. So this is identification. So if I just rename it something else, logo TT, for example, now it will lose its effect. See, whatever change was here, it lost it because the CSS don't understand the particular definition is named for the class name logo. That's how it identifies the components. That's how the communication is happening between your component and CSS is whatever name that you give here, the CSS will understand and provide the changes for that particular name. Because I changed the name, the CSS only knows logo, not logo TT. So if I just make it similar like this one, I think it's 3D. Now it will understand these changes will happen for this particular component, which is displaying the white logo. Now it's returned back. Again, this one is affected. The reason why it's affected is because, sorry, where was we? Where were we? So let's get this one back. Right. Let's see the browser one. Now they are located in the same as it was. When you want to make some changes, when hover happening, like we did this, the only way that you see the brightness change when you hover your cursor in it. So if you want to make a change, when I hover on Kifiya training, I want something to happen on the design. And what you will do is you will add this hover extension next to the class name. Then if they'll understand, hover literally means when you hover something, what should be the CSS look like. So here I'm calling the drop shadow syntax of CSS and I'm giving it a color. Could be anything. And then when you hover on that one, it will apply that change. That's what it's doing. This is keyframes are useful for creating animation, which on this case it's when the logo spin, it's making the logo spin to happen to rotate 0 degree and from 0 degree to 360. So it's just going to circle around. The logo spin is, I think it should be some logo spin here, probably logo spin. Not all right. Okay, so there's some spinning here for the React application. Okay. The logo spin is not a class name, it's a name that is given for the animation. So whatever name is this particular animation will happen. Yeah, this is the tag. So it's indicating the A tag, which is HTML tag, which is this one. Both of them actually have the A tag. Then this is another syntax. So the MS types of 2, which is the second A tag, it will apply. You see it, right? The class is also contains the logo class. I'm asking it to put this animation. So I have given the animation logo spin, and the logo spins again called by the keyframes to create this in circle rotation. So this particular animation that you see happening on React is only created through the CSS, through this line, of course. So it's rotating 0 to 600 degree rotation. So this is this ends type of this ends. You need to just read all the essays. So to indicate the second order of the HTML tags, they use this ends. This is a CSS syntax, and you can just call those things and do your own manipulation based on your design. So this is the pure CSS. This is just the vanilla pure CSS. How we would do pure CSS is like this one. But while we are here, the one thing that I want to show you is Tailwind. So like the CSS that you just saw right now, or maybe I can leave this one for you. We can come back to it because it needs some installation to happen. So just to give you some hints, what Tailwind CSS is doing is, before you see on the H1 tag, I did font size 6RN, right, to increase the size of the font. But if you use CSS, you don't need to go to another separate CSS file. You can simply write it next to the H1 tag. Here, the syntax, instead of font size, it will be text. I'm actually already used Tailwind. Text size should be 3XL. This 3 can be increased. It increases up to 5, up to 6XL. So it will increase the particular H1 tag text content based on what you wrote here. So that's the difference. The normal pure CSS, you will define it on CSS files and import them to see the change. But with Tailwind, you will write your CSS next to the tag right there. So it's really easier, simpler, and you can see your CSS changes. But they have the same purpose. It's just a bit of shift on how they do it. That they have different purpose, they use similar concepts, and so on. Tailwind also have its own documentation, which you can go download. Tailwind documentation. They have all the syntax that you could possibly need there. You can just, no, not this one. Documentation. Yeah, this is it. So if you go to, for example, yeah, for example, we see the hover part before, right? So they have this really descriptive documentation where you can also see. So when you comment, this is, for example, if you put your on your button this one, there is a display here. You will see this. This is the effect that you're seeing. So they actually give you the CSS that you can put next to your tag, and what kind of your change you can see. You can actually see it on their documentation. So it's really easier to read and know what to expect. So write this one and you will see this kind of effect. That's it. So Tailwind also has an extension for VS Code. Install it, and it will also guide you. The moment you write BG, options will be listed on your VS Code to see the changes. Okay, but you need to install for white. They have the documentation that I showed you earlier. It will install it. So if you want, we can come back to it and I can show you. But for now, let's go back to the dashboard building part. See, the time is going up. So the other thing that you need to know when it comes to actually building a dashboard with React is, like we said, there are libraries that you can use. So there are different types of libraries that you can explore. One of them is Plotly. It's also Plotly, React. Let's say this one, for example. So if you can go to the Plotly documentation, you will install it with, I think there should be an installation somewhere here. Yeah, install, you can install any Plotly from any npm. So all the React package are installed through the npm. So you can simply just copy this one and go to your terminal and just install it. Control V, Command V, sorry. While that installing, you can come back. Let's just come back to the they have different chart types from the one that you know on bar chart, not others. So they have a better documentation. Let's see. Let me just find it. Yeah, all these are different chart types or visualization types that Plotly offers that you can explore. Let's go to their GitHub, and I think they will. Yeah. Okay, I think we'll come back to the documentation again. So let's just click, for example, try to plot this bar chart. They already give you an example, and you can try to fit it with your new React and see the changes. Okay, we'll try one of them here. We can try from the basic one, and we can go up. While we are testing this, the other package that's commonly used, there are a lot of them, by the way. I'm just going to mention now the two of them. I think they are enough. The other is chart.js of React. This is also an name package. Where is it? Yeah, React chart.js. So I think you can install it with this one. Go to their GitHub and you'll find their documentation like I did right now, and they have different options. This is one of the chart types they offer, but you can also change this to bar charts, line charts, and so on and so on. So you can explore there. Usually when I go to a name package, go to the React, their GitHub package for their GitHub source code for the package, and down there, if there's documentation, like I found the Plotly one, you will find the official documentation for ArcGIS, and within that, you will find snip codes and their expected result, like you are seeing on Plotly. So let's just state Plotly, hopefully it will work, and see what it looks like. So let's just copy this code, go back to the React application. So before we go to the implementation, we have talked about earlier about components, right? So this is Up.js is one page or one module that is running currently. So whenever the npm run diff is invoked, this is a particular single page that is being technically running, but this HTML tag is connected with the other files, so it will, run it. So if you see here, the HTML1 file is reading the main.js. The main.js, if you go here, is running which one? The app file, which app is imported from this one. So there's a lot of, all the files are connected with each other, but the final file that everyone is connected to at the end comes to the index.html file, which is running the application on the browser. This is what we say a simple, what was the slide saying? A simple file application. Yeah, that's what we meant. So like we said, the app is running a code with the main.js and then just go on the index.html, and the npm run div is running this particular index.html, which run everything. So we already have one component. This is upload.js6, but we can create many things. So from here, let's just delete this one so we can have a clear space. Let me delete this one as well. Let's keep the Kifiya training. What else is there? Let me delete all this. I don't need this one. This is because I deleted this. Okay. So now I'm hoping I'm gonna put the bar graph below this. So to do this, I need to create another component that is specifically for the charts. So here, usually when we are creating UI applications, we will create components file folder where usually when you read some other front-end developer code that's built with React, usually you'll find this particular naming. It's a common understanding, not a rule. So when I see components, I will understand most of the component features are located here, and the most main pages are located here. So I will know that what up-to-JS purpose is. Probably it will be a place where other imports, other components are attached to it to be displayed. So let's put on the components our chart. So we are planning to create a bar chart feature. So it can be a feature bar.j6. So here we already this is the code that I just copied from the Plotly core syntax. Now, hopefully it will work, but let's just test. So I have the bar component within the component folder, and I want to display it after the Kifiya training text headline. So let me import it first. Import components slash it is yeah, I have missed one best practice here. So usually the React components are expected to start with a capital letter. So let me rename it here. If it's an urgent question, you can ask, or you can ask when I'm done as well. But probably I didn't export it here, but let's see what happens. I don't think it will work, but let's see. I don't think it will work though. No, this is not going to work. shouldn't reject it for some reason. Yes, let's see. Like, I just close the component here. Let's go here. Okay. So it's reading the component. Now let's go to Plotly. This one. This is not right. Yeah, this is not right. Let's just do this one. Okay, this is a pure JavaScript. I need a plugin that is fit with React. Okay, let's see this medium. Now there should be a documentation for this. I do remember. Okay, let's just test it with this one, but there is a documentation. Yeah, this is the package that I just installed. Yeah, I installed the pure Plotly for pure JavaScript. Okay. You need React. Plotly NPM. Okay, let's install this one. Okay, now this we could agree on. Let's write this one to the bar file we already created. And let's go to this one. The type is bar. We can also change it probably to line. Let's see. All right. Let's run npm run diff. Back to here. Yeah, it's working. That one is for pure JavaScript. So if you are using a pure JavaScript for your UI, that will work. But we are using JavaScript, but not pure JavaScript. But still, there is a React syntaxes that are doing most of the work. So we need to find a plugin that's compatible with React, which is this one. So where was it? So probably this one also has documentation. But before we see the documentation, let's experiment here. So if I change to this one to line, let's see if it makes a change. Yeah, line chart. So probably why wasn't there pi? Let's see pi, because the names are common usually. It will. Okay, so maybe I have any problem. Let's go back to line and see if we can find documentation for this package. So you can see the options that you have. the type of charts that you have for this package. What does it offers? Okay, I think I have seen an issue here. Yeah, I will implement document here. Not this one. Let's see this issue. I think we are back to the same documentation. So it means you can use the React package that I just used, but still you can find the names of the chart type they offer on their documentation. This is the same documentation we were just seeing earlier. So let's see the pie chart. Only the data, the type is pie. Okay. Let's go back to the plotly here for the pie chart. So we can take this data here. So let's just, I won't delete it, but let's see, let's comment it like this. And let me comment this one as well. So let's put this one like this. No, wait. Let's erase here. Another erase here. Where is it there? You can give height. You have the layout option. Okay. Okay, yeah, there's already a layout which you can increase. So let's go to, yeah, it's working. So hopefully you are seeing what I'm doing. You can do your own, trial and error to make it work. But the point is, this is a pure JavaScript, but you can take like I did right now. Before the pie chart didn't work because the data doesn't fit. The before one has a X and Y values, so that's more fitted for bar chart, scatter or line charts. So with phi, you need to have defined one values and labels that you can put and so on. So that's it. Hopefully you did get something from this one. You can increase the layout with this one with CSS as well. But the point is, this is how you can use bar chart, React for building dashboards. You could use these packages that are compatible with React and use them for your advantage. Most of them has the documentation that you can refer. They offer tons of chart types, visualization types, like just saw on Plotly. Chart.js also give the same documentation in Visual, so you can just install one of them and explain, do your own thing. The other thing that we just mentioned on the slide and you just guys saw is this one, that is calling a component with another component. That's what I did right now, you see, right? The bar is, before when I was just simply copy paste the code here, it was not making sense for me because I need to export the component somehow. So you need to actually define, export this particular file. When you are defining export this file with a name, all you need to do is call this name in another component and it will automatically understand which file you are talking about, this one. So the export is really necessary. That's why it didn't make sense for me as well, and it didn't work too. So you need to export it like this and call it the particular path where it's located, and just call it like this. You need to just close it with this slash this, and that's it. Okay, that it will run wherever you put it. So if I put this one above the header, now I'm going to be seeing the chart above it. So the position matters. So this is a screenshot of what React look like and what React does, but this is not it. There's a lot to it with React. How there's a lot of best practices you can implement. You can see right now I'm importing it like you guys do on Python, but there's a better way of importing React application as a best practice, but you guys don't have to worry about this. You can go as plain as you want at this point of your stage of learning React. But where you are more professional to it, there are better ways to import files, there are better ways to modularize your React application. There are a lot of testings that you can do that you guys, I'm just going to put it out there so you can explore, okay? So with that being said, I can come back to you guys if you have questions. Is that clear? Someone has raised hands at some point, right? Yeah. Because it was here now. Is it clear? Okay. For those of you who are not new to it, it's an easier demo that I just saw. But I did want you guys to see the paths that I go through because it's really important. You guys look for which files. Usually when you are importing packages, most of the time people don't go through the source code to see the documentation. This is just a practice that I want you guys to do because it's really important seeing the source things to really manipulate the package to your own purpose. So, right. So if there are no more questions, you can give me last reaction so we can end the session. We already are past time. Yeah.